Hello everyone, and welcome back to Occult Perspectives. I'm going to try and film this. If this is a good take, we'll go ahead and post it on the channel. But anyway, hope you've all been well. It's been a few weeks since I've posted anything. It's been a crazy couple of months. There were some solar storms that took place back in February, I believe. There were a lot of crazy things going down that month. So things have been kind of turbulent. Hope you're all hanging in there. As always, a time for transformation, a time for personal growth. All of these things. I do not have a theme for this video, but I figured since I have, a little bit of time here on this ride, why not go ahead and try to talk about a couple things. I've seen there have been some new subscribers to the channel. I believe we have about 645 subscribers. I want to say that sounds about right, somewhere in there. So thank you all for subscribing to the channel. Those of you who are new, thanks to all of you for supporting this channel. Over the past, I guess this channel's about 2 years old now, so it's gaining some age. Hopefully it's like a fine wine. It's gonna mature real nicely, I think. I kind of noticed that the channel's, even when I'm away from, posting videos normally on the channel, it seems that I keep getting new subscribers, so that's really exciting. So for those of you who are new, or you just don't really know exactly who I am, my name is Tyler Smith. I am somewhat of a current practicing ceremonial magician. I'm not doing many practices at the moment. I am doing some energy work with Raphael at the moment for some physical healing. I've been working with the sigil for Raphael, and I've got some clear quartz crystals I've been placing in the circle around it to charge the energy of those quartz crystals. And that's something that Jeremiah Schwartz on his channel Universal Mastery also recommends. You should go check out his video on meditating with the circle. It's a beginner video for those who are just getting into the occult, but he recommends, forming a circle, working on your magic circle with the clear quartz. And he goes into detail in his video. But that's been helpful. So not a lot of practices. I haven't been, I think I've only done one banishing and invoking in like the past month. Because I'm noticing that, well, we're going to get to that. I think that's one of the things I want to talk about in this video is how I've taken a step back from my practices and really kind of reevaluated, what's actually working and what's not working, what needs to be dropped, all of those kind of things. Because the results, for a while, they seemed good. But then I was using banishing as an escapism. Constantly cleansing, constantly trying to get rid of the energy that had been accumulated instead of transmuting that energy. And instead of just staying away from people that energetically I probably should not be around, I'm somewhat forced to be around people I would rather not share any energy with. And by that I mean even sharing the same room, because their energy is just nothing that I want. They don't even live anywhere close to the same frequency as I do. They're not there. Most people are not there. Something I can tell you wholeheartedly and with no reservation is I am a person who understands pain. I've been through a lot of physical pain. I know what pain is. I have a pretty high threshold for pain because of some of the chronic things that I've gone through. That's only made me stronger. And that's one of the things that's kind of cool about the things that hurt us are actually the things that teach us the most. You know, that's why you have these musicians after a bad breakup or something traumatic happens in their life. That's the catalyst. That's the catalyst that propels them forward, really onto their true path a lot of the times, because they're working on themselves again, rather than getting so caught up. But anyway, we were getting back to banishings of energies and things of that nature. Before I actually get into the reasons why, you need to go and check out Universal Mastery's videos on the banishing trap. It's one of his newer videos. That's going to explain in detail kind of what I'm talking about, but I'm going to be talking about it a little bit more from a personal experience route and as someone who has performed banishings and cleansings many times over a span of years. So you're going to get the information from that perspective. Okay. So before we get into the effects of banishing itself, let's talk about the elemental directions. All these occult books, all these occult orders, you know, I always thought that fire was in the south, water was in the west, and that air was in the east. Turns out, as Universal Mastery says, and you know, my intuition, you know, tells me that he's right. I think he's right, because I think the older systems followed this before any of these modern mystery schools came about. And somebody could easily use the knowledge of the elemental directions and change that so it could energetically fuck you up, so to speak, so that you are really destroying yourself instead of destroying the things that you wish to destroy. So the correct directions, and you need to go and check out Universal Mastery's video, seems to be that east is actually fire, which is an area of deletion. So I've tried this one time so far, doing banishings facing the east and finishing your circle in the east because you are deleting. So it makes sense to face the east. I keep the sacred god names in conjunction with the elements. So for the south, you are going to, since it's fire, you're vibrating Adonai in the south now. I'm sorry, in the east. You're vibrating Adonai in the east instead of in the south. So east, the correct directions, it seems to be, is that east is fire, south is water, west is air, and north remains earth. North is always earth. So I tried doing banishings facing the east because that's facing the fire, the hell realm, the realm of deletion, and doing invocations facing west because that is the direction of manifestness, of adding, of manifestation. So if you want more information about that, check out Universal Mastery. Make sure you subscribe to his channel, support his videos. The directions of the elements, check out that video. So that is something that I've changed in my curriculum. See, I always thought, Masonically, the sun rises in the east. The sun is at high noon in the south. So that's why I always, to me, it kind of made sense that fire was in the south. The sun sets in the west, and then north is always darkness, because that's the nighttime, and then the sun rises in the east again. That's how the lodge works. And that's how pretty much any ceremonial magic book you get, modern magic included. And see, what sucks is these guys may not have even known it themselves if they were practicing it that way, with the elements in the wrong directions. I've been doing it for years now, you know, east, air, south, fire, west, water, and north, air. I've got about no more than 10 minutes left. I'm almost to my destination, so I may have time to do another recording. But for the duration of this video, I want to talk about the effects of banishing over long periods of time. Now, I did the banishing ritual of the pentagram probably for about 1.5 years or so, at least, I want to say, until I even learned about the invoking ritual of the pentagram. It seems really easy to find information on the lesser invoking ritual of the pentagram now, but it really wasn't that easy to find even just like 4 years ago. So I was doing the Lbrp constantly, because the Golden Dawn book's kind of hard to follow, and Donald Michael Craig never really even gets into the invoking ritual of the pentagram in his book, which I think's really fucking weird. There's a couple weird things about his book, like he doesn't even go into the sign of silence, I don't think, in the Lbrp, so that's kind of weird too. But for someone who's done it over long periods of time, it's kind of created this effect where it's isolated me from the rest of everybody else, which in a way isn't a bad thing. But as Jeremiah Schwartz states, what you're kind of doing is you're letting all this energy build, you're learning all these things, and then when something upsets you or something triggers you, what I was doing is I was like, I just want to get this shit away. I want to banish it. I want to cleanse the space. So I would do an Lbrp. I also do it for to help alleviate for physical pain. It does bring a lot of comfort for physical ailments, doing an Lbrp or something like that. So if you're doing it for physical reasons, that's really not a bad reason to do it. It's never a long-term solution though. So think of the lesser banishing ritual of the pentagram. It's almost like this band-aid in a way, to a degree, because what's happened to me is there's been times where I've been triggered, but instead of actually facing it physically and dealing with it, I like did the deletion thing. It's like, I don't like to keep a lot of messages on my phone. Like, I'll delete a message chat as soon as I'm done, like, talking to the person, because I don't like to open my phone and see all these messages. You know, it just kind of drives me insane. So it's like cleaning the slate. It's like deleting everything. It's like all the bad stuff. You know, it's really kind of an excuse almost to go and like fuck up or mess up and then just delete that. Like, oops, no, never mind, like I'm just going to do a lesser banishing ritual of the pentagram, like that'll fix it. So it becomes kind of this trap, and it tends to, if you're not doing invoking, it's going to not only isolate you from other people, which, you know, isn't always a bad thing, because you're going to isolate yourself from people who are not on the path or who are not working on any of these kinds of things, which oftentimes they can be like parasitic people. You know, they're not trying to find themselves. They're not trying to do self-work of any kind or really figure out what this reality, the underlying causal factors of reality. They're just happy with the illusion, and that's good enough for them, and they don't want to go any further. And that's fine. That's fine. But I don't have time for that. I don't have time for people who just want to play, you know, silly-ass games. I'm kind of getting tired of that. Life is here to be enjoyed. And I see a lot of people, they don't even know how to really and truly enjoy themselves. They're really just distracting themselves. And so the Lbrp and other rituals are going to remove these kind of people from your life. But sometimes it doesn't always do that, because instead of you actually working through the stuff and dealing with the emotions, you're using this band-aid, or you're using this lesser banishing ritual of the pentagram to cover it up. I've messed up a lot. This is a learning process. I'm learning, you know, and if you've been doing the rituals for a long time too, and you feel that it's not working for you, it's not helping you actually manifest what you want, it's literally just a feel better kind of thing, which really isn't what the ritual's not bad in and of itself, but it also lights you up on the astral plane. And if you're not really one who's walking the right-hand path, if you're doing these rituals all the time, if you're doing the lesser banishing ritual of the pentagram, and then you do the invoking ritual of the pentagram middle pillar, you are going to attract unwanted forces. And if you're not really powerful enough, or if your willpower is not strong enough to overcome these things, it can lead to some bad things. And I'm talking about, you know, from experience in that situation as well, which is why I've chosen to kind of rather embrace these darker aspects of Source. I see just the darker side as the darker side of Source, or the divine. It's not evil. The only things I would consider evil, which we don't understand, is like the gray evils of just senseless murder and, you know, people who rape and stuff like that. To me, those are vermin, and they should, you know, I'm not even going to get into that. That's like some righteous, archangelic, you know, type energy that you can really channel, you know, when you feel that kind of way towards a certain person. And, you know, that's even when you start getting into like the some of the darker rituals where you can curse your enemies and stuff like that. I think that energy and that magic can be used for righteous purposes. It's kind of like me and my friend, she's a spiritual friend of mine, we call it righteous anger. It's an anger that actually has merit. It's not just you being, you know, a baby and whining about something. It's about you sitting there and being like, am I just crazy, or am I really just being, you know, not treated the best? And you're approaching it rationally and objectively. And you find that there are things that have happened that are just so unrighteous. I don't care if you're walking the right or the left-hand path, things that would piss you off, things that would boil your blood. Because these POS, I call them wasted, manifested chaos, I guess. But that's too good of a name for them even. I can't even talk about it, because there's people that are just so vile and so low of consciousness that, to me, I might want to be careful about what I say, because I might wish something so ill upon them it might actually happen. But anyway, yeah, that's one of the dangers. I'm getting off track. This is how the dark side works, though. It starts to take a hold, and it's showing you that, you know, it's time to stop turning the other cheek. It's time to stop being a little bitch. It's time for you to take control of your reality. And you realize that your intelligence and your merits distinguish you from other people. Yes, we all have the same, on the level, we have the same rights under natural law, but we are not equal. We are not the same. And you can tell that when you see somebody who's very observant and conscious, and then you see people who run about and they have no idea what's going on. So, anyway, moral of the story is, face your problems and find out which magic is actually practical and beneficial for you. If the lesser banishing ritual, the pentagram, is helping you, by all means, and if it's working for you, great. Do it. If it's not, then don't. But you've been warned about some of the things that can happen. And you will be tested. You will be tested if you walk this path. Doesn't matter which side of the path you're taking. It's all one path. Because in the end, you have to face yourself. You have to find out what you truly are. You can't turn your back. You can't just turn your cheek and be like, oh, I'm not going to worry about that. Because what you are might be a lot darker than what you think. And remember, even archangels are severe. They're not just rainbows and butterfly beings. They are very strict beings. And they have shown me over time really the wickedness and baseness of this species. And by that, I don't mean metaphysical evil. I'm talking about stupid, muggle, trash, just the worst of the worst. There's no room. There's no room. Well, I guess as Albert Pike says, you know, the animals and stuff, you know, treat them as such. Animals, you know? And then don't get too caught up worrying about that. Focus on what makes you happy and transcend that. Let them burn in their own hell of stupidity. And you can move on. And you can have, you know, that goal that you want. So, I feel like there was going to be one more thing that I mentioned, but that's all right. I've ranted long enough in this video. I hope you got something from this. I know it's not a super long video. I may be able to do another one at some point today. We shall see. But But until next time, love all you guys. Thanks for watching. Thanks for being a part, and stay tuned. There's more to come. Peace.